The deal that destroyed everything. He believed his talent was worth more than $100. 000. But according to testimony connected to one of hip-hop's darkest cases, he later accepted only hundreds of dollars in a chain of events that ended with Young Dolph dead and his own future buried behind prison walls. That is the contradiction now haunting Justin "Straight Drop" Johnson. A short prison interview pulled the entire Young Dolph case back into the spotlight. After Johnson claimed Dolph once offered him a six-figure recording opportunity, Johnson said he rejected it because he believed he deserved more. On its own, that might have sounded like another story about pride, ambition, and an artist betting on himself. But the second number changed everything. $800. That amount had already surfaced in courtroom testimony, describing money allegedly received after the killing. Suddenly, the internet was staring at a brutal equation. A legitimate opportunity, allegedly worth $100. 000 rejected. A tiny payment connected to a murder, accepted. One respected rapper, gone. And one convicted man serving life. The clip did not create the tragedy. It exposed the irony inside it. People online mocked the numbers. But beneath the jokes was something far darker. This was not simply bad business. It was a story about ego, resentment, manipulation, and men who may have believed they were entering a profitable arrangement only to discover they were disposable from the beginning. And the deeper people followed the money, the more one name kept returning to the conversation: Gotti. Gotti has not been charged in connection with Young Dolph's murder, and no court has established that he ordered or participated in the killing. But testimony involving his late brother, Big Jook, and claims about money connected to CMG ensured that the public never fully separated his camp from the story. So how did a possible recording deal become part of a murder narrative? Why did the alleged payment shrink from tens of thousands of dollars to only $800? And what did an old Memphis rap rivalry have to do with the bloodshed that followed? Before we go deeper, tell us where you are watching from. Press 1 if you believe pride can make a person destroy their greatest opportunity. Or press 2 if you think someone else was controlling the entire situation. Subscribe to the channel, because the money trail behind this case only gets darker from here. The number everyone remembered. The prison clip spread because it reduced a complicated criminal case to two unforgettable numbers: 000 and $800. One represented possibility, the other represented ruin. According to Johnson's account, Young Dolph had once offered him a recording deal. Johnson claimed he turned it down because he believed the offer did not reflect his value. In the music business, rejecting a contract is not automatically foolish. Artists walk away from deals every day to protect ownership, independence, or long-term earning power. Young Dolph himself had built his reputation by refusing deals and maintaining control through paper route empire. Independence was central to his identity. He proved that saying no could become a powerful business strategy if the person saying no had discipline, vision, and a real plan. But Johnson's story appeared to move in the opposite direction. Instead of turning rejection into independence, the public saw a man whose name later became attached to a murder case. Instead of building a label, catalog, or touring career, he became known nationally as one of the men accused and eventually convicted of killing the artist who may once have tried to help him. That contrast made the public reaction merciless. Commenters questioned how someone could consider $100 000 insulting, while allegedly becoming involved in a deadly plot for a fraction of that amount. Others pointed to his limited commercial record and asked what evidence supported such confidence. The criticism was not only about greed, it was about a distorted understanding of value. Johnson appeared to measure his worth by the offer he rejected. The public measured it by the consequences of the decision that followed. Yet the $800 figure was more complicated than viral posts made it sound. Court testimony suggested that larger amounts had initially been discussed. The alleged plan was not presented as an $800 agreement from the beginning. Instead, the testimony described promises worth tens of thousands of dollars to the men involved. If those claims were true, then the shooters did not only make a catastrophic moral decision, they may also have been deceived by the people above them. The online mockery focused on the payment. The courtroom testimony revealed a structure And that structure suggested that $800 was not the full deal. It was what remained after the men at the bottom had already done the most irreversible part. The promise behind the payment. During Justin Johnson's murder trial, Cornelius Smith took the stand and described the financial arrangement prosecutors said was connected to Young Dolph's killing. Smith was not a distant observer. He admitted his own involvement and testified against Johnson. That made his account powerful. But it also gave the defense a reason to challenge him. Johnson's attorneys argued that Smith had every incentive to shift blame and improve his own position. Still, Smith's testimony placed specific numbers into the public record. According to his account, a much larger payment had been promised. He testified that the two gunmen expected tens of thousands of dollars each, while another alleged organizer was supposed to receive a separate amount. Prosecutors argued that the original bounty was $100. Ling ling ling. But Smith said the money did not arrive as promised. He claimed he received only $500 at first and another $300 later, a total of $800 before his arrest. The difference was staggering. If the original promise was truly $100, ling ling ling, then almost the entire amount disappeared before reaching the people who allegedly carried out the shooting. The men at the bottom accepted the greatest risk, left behind the most evidence, and faced the heaviest punishment. Yet according to Smith, they received almost nothing. That detail changed the emotional center of the story. It was no longer only about a rapper being killed during a long-running conflict. It became a story about how criminal organizations can treat their own participants as tools. Promises are made before the danger. Excuses arrive after the damage. By the time the people doing the dirty work understand the deception, there is no decision left to reverse. Young Dolph was gone. The shooters were identified, the investigation was moving, and the money that supposedly justified everything was nowhere to be found. Prosecutors said the alleged bounty was connected to Anthony Big Jook Mims, Yo Gotti's older brother, and a figure associated with CMG. That allegation came through the prosecution's theory and witness testimony. Big Jook was not convicted in the Young Dolph case, and Yo Gotti was never charged. But once those claims entered open court, the public stopped viewing the $800 as a random payment. It became the final piece of a chain that allegedly started much higher inside Memphis rap politics. The lawyer money. One financial detail disturbed observers almost as much as the alleged bounty itself. Cornelius Smith testified that someone associated with CMG helped secure legal representation after his arrest. Reports surrounding the trial described a legal bill worth far more than the money Smith claimed he personally received. The contrast was brutal. Hundreds of dollars allegedly delivered to a man after a killing, but tens of thousands reportedly available for an attorney. That does not automatically prove a criminal conspiracy. Paying or arranging legal representation is not, by itself, evidence that the person paying ordered the underlying crime. Smith also could not clearly identify every person involved in the alleged legal payment, but to the public, the optics were explosive. Why would an organization spend more protecting an accused participant than the participant claimed he received for the act itself? One interpretation was that legal protection mattered because the wrong testimony could expose a much larger network. Another possibility was that people were helping an associate without having any role in the crime. In court, those distinctions matter. Online, they often disappear. Whack 100 later amplified the most damaging interpretation, known for entering rap controversies with little restraint. He publicly warned Yo Gotti after testimony about the attorney money circulated. His argument was based on proximity. If someone tied to CMG paid for legal help, and prosecutors were already alleging that Big Jook played a role in the bounty, then the connection looked too close to ignore. But public suspicion is not the same as a criminal charge. Yo Gotti was never indicted in connection with Young Dolph's murder. Authorities did not establish in court that he financed the killing, directed the defendants, or arranged their defense. His name remains central largely because of his relationship with Big Jook. The history between CMG and Paper Route Empire, and the testimony involving someone allegedly connected to his organization, that legal distinction is essential. The story became viral because people compressed allegation, association, and proof into one narrative. But the courtroom record was more complicated. Johnson was convicted. Smith admitted involvement. Other defendants faced separate outcomes. Big Jook was accused by prosecutors, but never tried in this case. Yo Gotti remained outside the indictment. Yet every time the $800 returned to the timeline, the public reopened the same question. Who made the promise? Who controlled the money? And who benefited when the men at the bottom stayed silent? A rivalry built on independence. To understand why prosecutors presented Big Jook as part of the motive, the story must return to the conflict between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti. At first, it looked like competition between two Memphis rappers. Both men represented the same city, but they built power differently. Yo Gotti developed CMG into a major southern rap organization with industry partnerships and a growing roster. Young Dolph created Paper Route Empire and turned independence into both a business model and a public identity. Dolph repeatedly emphasized ownership. He spoke about rejecting deals, controlling his music, and building wealth without surrendering his career to another label. That message attracted fans because it made him more than a successful rapper. He became a symbol of self-determination. According to accounts discussed around the trial, Dolph had previously declined an opportunity connected to Gotti. Whether that rejection personally created the feud remains disputed, but it became part of the mythology surrounding their relationship. Then came the title that intensified everything, King of Memphis. When Dolph released the project in 2016, some people connected to Gotti's side reportedly saw the title as a direct challenge. Gotti had long been associated with that status in the city. Dolph placing the phrase on his own album appeared to many observers like a declaration of independence and dominance at the same time. Music followed. Diss records, public insults, and competitive claims turned private tension into entertainment. Fans selected sides. Artists associated with both camps became more vocal. Every lyric was treated as evidence. Every social media post became a warning. That is how rap conflict becomes dangerous. A disagreement that might have remained behind closed doors becomes content. Content becomes identity. Identity becomes loyalty. And loyalty becomes a test that people feel pressured to prove. Yo Gotti publicly denied having a serious personal conflict with Dolph. He said the two had never physically confronted each other and framed his own role as someone trying to help Memphis artists. But the atmosphere around their camps told a more complicated story. When violence later surrounded Dolph, the public connected each incident to the feud even when evidence did not prove direct involvement by Gotti. By then, the rivalry had become bigger than either man's statements. It was no longer just about music. It had become a narrative that the streets, the media, and eventually prosecutors would use to explain everything that came afterward. 100 shots and a growing shadow. In 2017, the conflict moved beyond diss records. Young Dolph's vehicle was targeted in Charlotte, North Carolina, during a burst of gunfire that became legendary in hip-hop coverage. Reports described the SUV as being hit repeatedly, with some accounts placing the number of shots near 100. Dolph survived because the vehicle was reinforced. Instead of disappearing after the attack, he transformed survival into music. The incident helped inspire the image behind 100 shots, one of the records most associated with his fearless public persona. He treated the attack as proof that his enemies could not stop him. That response strengthened his brand, but it may also have deepened the cycle. In rap culture, surviving violence can produce status. The survivor controls the story, turns fear into entertainment, and converts danger into streams, ticket sales, and loyalty. But the same performance can humiliate rivals and raise the emotional cost of backing down. Later that year, Dolph was shot in Los Angeles and survived again. Yo Gotti's name immediately appeared in public speculation, but police did not establish that he was responsible. Reports at the time indicated that he was not treated as a continuing person of interest. Other individuals connected socially or professionally to his wider circle were discussed or arrested in relation to separate incidents. But charges did not create a final judicial finding, tying Gotti to those attacks. Still, public perception had hardened. Each violent episode became another chapter in the same unofficial story. Dolph versus Gotti. Paper Route Empire versus CMG. Independence versus establishment. Dolph continued building. He released music, expanded his label, supported artists, and leaned even harder into ownership. Fans admired the fact that multiple attacks had not pushed him away from Memphis or forced him to abandon his independent path. But survival can create a dangerous illusion. When someone escapes death more than once, both the survivor and the audience may begin to feel that he is untouchable. Security becomes part of the image. Threats become background noise. The impossible starts to feel normal. Then, on November 2nd, that illusion collapsed. Young Dolph walked into Makeda's homemade butter cookies in Memphis. It was a familiar local business, and reports said he was buying cookies for his mother. Within moments, the long-running story of threats, music, pride, and rivalry reached its most devastating point. This time, Young Dolph did not survive. The cookie shop, the location made the killing feel even more personal. Young Dolph was not on stage. He was not filming a video, confronting an enemy, or performing the fearless character heard in his records. He was inside a neighborhood cookie shop during an ordinary moment. That detail changed how people remembered him. The public saw surveillance images, reports of a getaway vehicle, and scenes from outside the business. Fans gathered near the shop. Memphis mourned. Artists across hip-hop reacted with disbelief. For many, the killing represented more than the loss of a rapper. Dolph had remained closely connected to his city. He supported community events, gave back during the holidays, and built an independent company that created opportunities for people around him. His death also reopened every rumor from the previous decade: the rejected deals, the King of Memphis title, the diss records, the Charlotte shooting, the Los Angeles shooting, the public tension between Paper Route Empire and CMG. Investigators eventually arrested Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith. Hernandez Govan was later accused by prosecutors of organizing the plot. Prosecutors argued that the killing was connected to a bounty allegedly offered by Big Jook. Each defendant had the right to challenge those claims, and their cases did not all end the same way. But at Johnson's trial, Smith gave jurors a direct description of the shooting. He admitted that he got out of the vehicle and opened fire. His testimony was chilling because of how little emotion he displayed while explaining it. According to his account, money was the motive. He also testified that the killing occurred on his daughter's birthday. When questioned about that choice, he suggested he had been trying to obtain money for her. The statement exposed the moral collapse at the center of the plot. A man claimed he wanted to create a better day for his child, yet the method he chose permanently devastated another family. Young Dolph's children lost their father. His mother lost her son. Memphis lost one of its most successful independent voices, and Smith did not receive the financial transformation he claimed to be chasing. According to his testimony, he received $800. The crime had been presented as a path to money. It produced death, arrests, betrayal, and prison instead. By the time the jury heard the numbers, the alleged bounty no longer sounded like a reward. It sounded like a trap. The trial that split the story. Justin Johnson maintained that he was innocent. His defense attacked Cornelius Smith's credibility and argued that a cooperating participant had strong reasons to place responsibility on someone else. Smith had admitted his own role, and his testimony could potentially influence the outcome of his separate case. The defense wanted jurors to see a self-interested witness. Prosecutors wanted them to see an insider finally describing what happened. The jury ultimately accepted the prosecution's case. In September 2024, Johnson was convicted of murder and related charges. He received a life sentence, with additional punishment connected to the other counts. The man who had reportedly believed a six-figure record offer undervalued him was now facing a future measured not in albums, ownership, or touring revenue, but in decades behind bars. His public response did little to create sympathy. Messages attributed to him emphasized street loyalty and rejected the idea of cooperating. Rather than expressing remorse, the tone suggested that protecting his reputation remained more important than accepting responsibility. That reaction made the viral prison interview even more disturbing later. Johnson spoke about the alleged record offer as though it proved he once had value and opportunity. But to the public, the story proved the opposite. He had been close enough to Young Dolph to receive an offer, yet somehow ended up convicted of helping destroy the very person who may have opened a door for him. Other defendants had different outcomes. Cornelius Smith's testimony helped convict Johnson, but his own legal situation followed a separate path. Hernandez Govan, whom prosecutors accused of helping organize the plot, later stood trial and was acquitted. An acquittal means the prosecution failed to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It does not allow the public to rewrite the verdict, simply because the prosecution's theory sounded convincing. That uneven outcome complicated the story. One accused participant received life. One admitted shooter became a key witness. One alleged organizer was found not guilty. The man prosecutors identified as the source of the bounty was never tried in the case. The courtroom answered who the jury believed had participated directly in Dolph's murder. It did not resolve every suspicion surrounding the wider conflict. That is why the case never fully left hip-hop. The verdict closed Johnson's trial, but the unanswered questions kept the story alive. The man who never reached the courtroom. Big Jook became one of the most important names in the prosecution's theory. Yet he never faced a jury over the allegations connected to Young Dolph. Prosecutors described him as the person behind the alleged $100,000 bounty. Witness testimony placed him near the financial chain. His connection to Gotti and CMG guaranteed that every claim involving him would create consequences far beyond the courtroom. But allegations are not conviction. Big Jook was never found guilty in the Young Dolph case. He did not testify, confront the evidence in a full trial, or receive a verdict that could legally settle the accusations. Before that could happen, he was killed in Memphis in January 2024. His death created another unresolved circle around the case. The man prosecutors portrayed as the source of the bounty was now gone. Whatever he knew, denied, arranged, or never participated in could no longer be tested through his testimony. Gotti was left in an impossible public position. Legally, he was not charged in Young Dolph's murder. There has been no judicial finding that he ordered the killing or knowingly financed it. Publicly, however, the allegations surrounding his brother and claims involving CMG repeatedly pulled his name back into the story. Every headline about the $800 revived the same suspicions. Every old Whack 100 warning resurfaced. Every paper route artist who attacked Gotti in music strengthened the public association. And every retelling blurred the line between what prosecutors alleged, what witnesses claimed, and what a court actually proved. Meanwhile, Young Dolph's legacy grew beyond the conflict. Memphis honored him. Fans continued streaming his music. Paper Route Empire carried forward the business he built. His story became an example of what independent ownership could achieve and what unresolved street conflict could destroy. The cruelest part of the entire saga remained the math. A possible fent 000 opportunity was rejected. A debuseradas 000 bounty was allegedly discussed. Tens of thousands were supposedly promised. Only $800 was allegedly delivered to one participant. A legal defense reportedly cost far more. One man died. Another received life in prison. Another admitted his role. Another was acquitted. And the alleged source of the money died before the accusations could be tested against him in court. The prison interview did not change the evidence or reopen the case. It simply forced the public to look at the contradiction again. Straight Drop once believed he deserved more. But after every promise, every act of loyalty, and every irreversible decision, the people he may have trusted allegedly left him with almost nothing except a number. The world will never let him forget the real cost of the $800. The final lesson in this story is not about whether $800 was too little, whether $100, 000 was enough, or whether any amount of money could have changed the outcome. The real lesson is that every person involved was measuring value in the wrong currency. Young Dolph measured value through ownership, independence, family, and legacy. He turned down opportunities when they threatened his control. But he also built something lasting. His music continued, his label continued, his name remained connected to Memphis long after his death. The men accused of participating in his murder measured value through immediate money, street approval, and promises made by people who did not appear beside them when the consequences arrived. That difference explains everything. A person who builds for the future can survive rejection. A person controlled by pride and desperation can mistake destruction for opportunity. The alleged promise of tens of thousands of dollars may have sounded powerful before the shooting. After the arrests, it became meaningless. Money could not restore freedom, repair families, or erase testimony. The strategic failure was obvious. The people at the bottom accepted nearly all the risk, while the people higher in the alleged chain remained more protected, more distant, or completely outside the courtroom. That pattern appears repeatedly in street conflicts. Those asked to prove loyalty are often the first abandoned when investigations begin. The larger lesson for hip-hop is that competition does not have to become war. Artists can challenge one another through music, business, creativity, and success, without allowing pride to turn disagreement into permanent loss. A diss record can be answered with a better record. A rejected contract can become motivation. A rival's success can become pressure to improve instead of a reason to destroy. Violence does not create a winner. Young Dolph lost his life. His children lost their father. His mother lost her son. Men connected to the case lost their freedom. Families on every side inherited pain that no song, payment, or reputation can repair. And the number that once sounded like a reward became a symbol of how cheaply human life had been treated. $100,000 rejected, $800 allegedly received, a lifetime of consequences. The most powerful response is not revenge. It is refusing to repeat the cycle. Build something. Protect your people. Walk away from conflicts that demand blood as proof of loyalty. Real strength is not pulling a trigger. Real strength is having the discipline to choose peace when pride is begging for destruction. If this story showed you how one decision can change multiple generations, subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear its message. And press the like button. Then comment 1 if you believe peace is stronger than street loyalty. Or comment 2 if you believe the music industry still has not learned from tragedies like this.